Welcome back, everyone, and welcome to AfterCLIMB. This is the portion of the program where I get to do a deep dive into a part of our product. Today, I'm actually going to talk about the general release of version 8.3.2. Now, that just came out a couple of weeks ago, and it has 144 enhancements. So a lot, and a lot more that I'm going to cover today. I'm just going to cover a few of the key ones. I would encourage you to come to the main menu and look at the till apps and parameter section and the Start Plus release notes. And when you click that, it'll take you to the release notes and it'll give you the table of contents, and you can click on any of these areas that you're interested in and read more details. Now I'm going to start my demonstration in the till, where I made just a couple of changes that I think you're going to find useful. Now, for those of you who are not on an 8.3 version, the till looks completely different. We've moved the flip charts to the side. Your flip charts will convert right over. They'll be exactly the same. But just the layout's going to be different. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start by scanning a few items. And we've added a parameter that you can turn on. It defaults to off. So when we do the general release, when you get the upgrade, this parameter will not be on. You have to turn it on. But what it allows you to do is if you're charging to a customer's account, a house charge account, and that customer has a credit card on file using a token, then the system can warn you that there's a credit card available to charge to, a token available, and you can charge to that token or to that credit card instead of their house charge account. This was a request we've had from many customers who are using tokenization. But again, it defaults to off, so nothing changes if you don't turn this enhancement on. So to show how it works, I'm simply going to hit a house charge, and I'm going to select a patient or customer, in this case, Marie Abernathy. And when I hit enter, it's going to let me know that Marie has an active token and that we could charge to that token instead, or credit card, instead of to their house charge account. Now I want to show some features of house charge change there. So I'm going to hit escape here to go right on into doing a house charge. And the change I want to show is that we've now added the patient's name, the customer's name here right next to the amount, so it's clear who you're charging to. Now, a few versions ago, many of you are aware that we added the ability to charge to multiple AR accounts in the same transaction. We didn't used to be able to do that. So I'll just use that. I'll just show that example as well by doing $10 to Marie's account, and it's showing the amount tendered at $10 and the amount remaining of $14.82. And now I can use any other tender, including a house charge. And just to show that working, I'll choose this house charge again. And let's go with just one of these other accounts. And we'll hit enter here and charge the remainder to that account. Okay, now we've done something very similar with the delivery program. So if you're doing a delivery and you choose a customer that has a token on file, it's simply going to come up and warn you that they have a token on file. So exactly the same situation so that you know that in advance. Okay, and those are the couple of changes at the till that I thought you'd be interested in. Now, one that I think you're really going to be excited about is a change we made in accounts receivable. So how many times have you had a situation where you find out after the fact that somebody charged to the wrong account, and you have to go in to accounts receivable and do a couple of manual entries, one to remove it from the account of the person it was charged to, and then a manual entry to get it onto the account where it belongs. It happens, right? And so we've created a change customer feature that allows you to do this in one step, and it's completely audited. And it's also controlled by a trust level, so not just anybody can come in and do this. So let me go ahead and pick, let's pick Pauline Anthony. I think she might not have, yeah, she does. So here's a transaction from earlier today that I did. So I want to change this transaction. And so I come to functions. Excuse me, this is a transaction that was I already moved this transaction in a previous demo. So here's a transaction that hasn't been moved. So we'll go ahead and go change customer. It'll come up and give me a list of all the customers. And I'll go ahead and just choose one of them here. I'll just go down to Stephanie Montgomery, click Add, and then click Change Customer. And I'm going to get this warning message that warns me that I'm about to do this and wants my approval. And my screen is locked. There we go. And I'll say yes to this. So it's warning me so that I don't actually make a mistake. Click yes. And then it tells me that it's been moved. So I moved from Pauline Anthony to Stephanie Montgomery. Now it's going to refresh the screen, and you're going to see that transaction is now gone. Now, if I look under the audit trail for Pauline Anthony, you'll see here that we changed the customer on this transaction to this customer code. And there's the customer code, Stephanie Montgomery. So if I go to Stephanie Montgomery's account, under the audit trail, I'll see that we added this transaction from this account. And if we look at the accounts receivable detail, we'll see that transaction. So now it's in the right place. So I'm sure many of you are very happy about this. I know a number of people have asked about this for quite some time as well, but it makes it a one step. Okay, the next thing I want to show is for those of you who have large front ends and a lot of vendors. Now, the vendor that I worked with on this particular change has hundreds of vendors. So, and many of those vendors, as I'm sure for many of you, have minimums that have to be reached, either for dollar minimums or in some cases quantity minimums. And maybe it's a dollar minimum to have free freight, or maybe it's just a dollar minimum period. So in the vendor editor, we've had for quite some time the ability, and I'll just bring up real quickly where this is set up. So in the vendor editor, under the vendor, you have this minimum purchase quantity, unit quantity, and then the minimum purchase amount, $1,500 in this case. So AmerisourceBergen would be a bad example to use, but I don't have any products from any other vendors in my system, that Cardinal and McKesson. So any of the drug wholesalers, really, this isn't useful for. But for those of you with lots of vendors that have those kinds of restrictions, you can set up the vendor and you can set up these two fields. Then under inventory control, you can set up a scheduled order calculation, and you can set it up so that it runs every single day on the same day, and it looks to see what's available to order for that particular vendor. And you can set up, hundreds of vendors that way, so that it's doing these order calculations daily. And then each day you can come into the order set viewer. Now, the order set viewer used to always look like this, where it just was a long list of all of the potential orders with no way to filter. Now we've added, in this version, we've added the ability to filter by minimum purchase quantity or minimum purchase amount. So when I go minimum purchase amount, I now see that I have one vendor that has 276 items and $1,933 with a minimum amount of $1,500. So right from here, I can then create my purchase order. And so imagine if you have hundreds of vendors, and this is happening every day, and each day you can come in, and maybe on Monday it's found 30 vendors that you can order from, and on Tuesday it found another 20. And each day you come in, you can simply highlight all the orders you want to place, and you can do that using standard Windows tools. So you can, if there are 10 orders and you want to do all 10 of them, you can highlight the first one, hold the shift key down and go to the bottom one, and it'll highlight all of them. You can do the control and click on each one to highlight them. So you can use all those standard features from Windows. And then you can simply click Generate POs. You also have the ability to look at the detail. I didn't mention that. So you can click Detail, and it'll show you all the items that are in the order, and you can delete them from there as well. But you can click Generate POs, and if there are 30 item orders that you've selected, it'll generate 30 POs, one for each of the vendors. We'll say yes to this, and now it's created the one purchase order, and now this order set viewer is empty. I know this is going to save a lot of time for those of you that do this. For those of you who didn't even know about the ability of the system to do scheduled orders and scheduled calculations. This is a new feature that you can look into. And you can do the F1 help, which will take you to directly into this area, or you can just call our support team and they'll help you get all of this set up. Okay, now a couple of the other things that I just will point out real quickly, for those of you who are doing delivery with our system and using the Android delivery application, we did enhance that to now include, so before you could put the relationship of the patient and the signature for the pickup, we've now added HIPAA signatures and safety cap decline signatures. If those would have been captured in the store, they can be captured on the delivery application as well. We've also, for those of you that are doing online web with a web store, you have an online presence. As you know, in the Product Manager, for those of you who don't know this, I'm just going to go in really quickly into the Product Manager and show you that you have the ability to set up online a web presence, and we have interfaces with 2 companies now. So if I go into Product Manager and I go to the Sales Parameters tab, there's a field called Online Item, and if I say yes to this, it's now setting that item up to be an online item. That means that from that point on, that item will communicate with whichever e-commerce site that we're interfaced to. It'll communicate the products that are the UPC, the description, the retail, the on-hand quantity up to that service. So those of you who are already doing this are doing it with Ecom Dash, and then we've just added a new company, 24/7 Commerce, and I will show you really quickly their website. So for those of you who aren't familiar with this, 24/7 Commerce and Ecom Dash are both middleware. They sit between the point of sale system, our system, and then all of these e-commerce sites. So in the example here, Shopify, WooCommerce, Magneto, Amazon, eBay, Walmart, any of Google Shopping, all of these places that you could have your products and services on a website, on an e-commerce site. So they sit in between. They communicate with them. We communicate with 24/7 Commerce. And when an order is fulfilled, like say Shopify or WooCommerce or any of these sites, when that's fulfilled, that information is sent back down through 24/7 Commerce and into the POS system at the till. So it shows that there was an online sale that day, and then you fulfill the order. So more to follow for those of you that are interested, but I wanted to announce that 24/7 Commerce, that interface, which many of you have been waiting for, is now available with A32. Okay, the other one that I want to talk about, going back to the main menu, is interface with Pointy. So we'll go sign up for Pointy. So for those of you not familiar with Pointy, Pointy is owned by Google. They were bought by Google about a year ago, I believe. And what Pointy does is it simply sends information when you sell an item at the till. It sends that information up into the Pointy platform and builds a database of the things that you carry in your store. And at that, when the customer or when a person is on Google looking for a specific product, it will find that you sell that product, and it will show up in the search as stores near me that are carrying this product that I'm searching for. And to set this up, you simply go to Next and type in the information. And I'm just going to show you how easy this is. And this is my email address if you want to write it down. That's the company phone number. Then you choose what your dates and times of opening are. You can mark this closed. So let's say we're closed on Sunday and we're open from 8 to 8, Monday through Friday, and 8 to 5 on Saturdays, because it's going to list that. It's going to give you your store information, and it's going to give your store hours. You double check all of this is accurate. Click next. It's actually going to set you up so that this is all real time. This is exactly how it's going to work for you. It's going to tell you that the setup is complete. It's going to take you to a screen here. It's going to show your status, and it's going to show that nothing's been uploaded at this point in time. I'm going to go ahead and disable this so that nothing happens here. But that's all there is to it. And then you're set and ready to go. And now when somebody Googles any of the products that you're selling in your store, you're going to show up as that price available to near that person. It's going to show your store and that your store information. Okay, I'm just going to turn that off so I don't forget. Okay, now that's it for version 8.3.2. Like I said, there's 144 enhancement requests, so go through those release notes for more details. For my final demonstration, I am excited to show you and announce the release of WillCall by RMS. This is our new WillCall management application. It is a web-based, browser-based application. We will give you a URL, and then you use your Star Plus credentials to log in at this screen. So here's the login screen. I'll put in my Star Plus credentials. And now I'll be at the home page. So many of you today are not using any kind of WillCall management application. You may have some plastic bags that hang on hooks. You're putting all the prescriptions for a patient into those bags. Some of you are doing it in paper bags and putting all the receipts on the outside of the bag and sticking that in WillCall. And you have a WillCall location and maybe a refrigerator where you have some things in WillCall as well. So what we're going to do is help you organize that to give you the advantage of two things: being able to see very easily the things that have been there for over a certain number of days, as well as being able to scan one barcode at the register and have it ring up all of the prescriptions that are in the bag. So those are the two key features of this particular product. So the first thing I want to talk about is locations. So I mentioned your standard WillCall bin location, the hanging racks, and we just named it standard WillCall. You can change the name. You can add as many WillCall locations as you'd like, but that's what we called it. The other is the refrigerator. So we think this is probably what typically people would do, but you could do, depending on the size of your WillCall area, you could do many different things. But that's going to be what we're going to start with here. And then those bags that you put the prescriptions in, we're referring to those as containers. Some are plastic bins, some are plastic bags, some are paper bags, but we refer to them as containers. It's easy to create a sequence of containers. You tell it the starting number, the ending number, and it'll create all of those containers. You can create individual containers one at a time. And when you've got your containers created and you want to print those barcodes to put on those hanging plastic bags or bins or whatever, you simply go to print barcodes. You choose one of two different Avery labels, which you can order you can get at your office supply store, or you can order online. No reason for us to, for you to order them from us when you can simply get them Avery labels anywhere. So you print those Avery labels out and you put those onto the plastic bags, and now you're ready to start creating your WillCall packages. So you simply go to create WillCall package. You scan the barcode from one of those plastic bags that's empty. So I'm going to scan a barcode on a plastic bag. It'll take me to the packaging screen. And now I scan the prescriptions for that patient. And it shows me the prescription number, the patient's name, that I've scanned the receipt. You have the option of turning on a parameter where not only do you have to scan the receipt, but you have to scan the vial, the matching vial, to ensure that you've got the receipt and the vial in the bag and it's all for the same patient. I've turned that off, so I'm just scanning the receipt and not having to scan the vial. And it's showing you the status is that this is this complete. So once you've scanned all the prescriptions that are going to go into that bag, you click finalize to finalize this package. It'll ask you where you're placing it. I have mine defaulting to the standard WillCall bin area. I could choose the refrigerator if that's where it's going, and then I click Save. So I do this throughout the day, and again, it's a web browser, so I can have this at any of the pharmacy management workstations where I'm actually filling and preparing prescriptions to go to WillCall. Now, I'm going to take you and show you what happens over at the register. So I'm going to go over to the register, and I'm going to scan the barcode for that package that I just set up. And so it's going to look at the WillCall application and pull that information in. And it pulled both prescriptions. Like I said, if there were 8 prescriptions in the bag, it would, scanning that one barcode, it brings all of those prescriptions in. There's a little delay here just because of I'm doing a Zoom meeting, so there's a little bit of a delay. But that typically, when I'm not doing a Zoom meeting, I'm just testing this, it takes 1 to 2 seconds for those prescriptions to ring up. So it's very fast. So now it's saved you the time at the register of having to scan multiple receipts. You just scan the bag and you're finished with the scanning. Now they can still delete if they don't want to buy a prescription. You can take it out, no problem there. But the WillCall part just makes it simple to scan the one barcode. Okay, so now let's go back into the WillCall application. We have this in WillCall for over 10 days. This is a parameter. This is the second feature. So you can set this to 10 days, 12 days, 14 days, 7 days, whatever number you want. And then it'll show you anything that's exceeding that number or anything that's that number or higher. I'm going to go into settings and I'm going to change that to say 2 days so that I can show you what it looks like when something shows up. So go back to home and it'll refresh that screen. And now there's going to be one package that has been there for more than 2 days. And so I can click on this when I see there's stuff in here. And now it'll give me the list of all of the packages that I need to pull and I need to return to stock with my pharmacy system. And it also tells you the number of prescriptions that are in that bag. So you just print this, walk over to WillCall, pull container 2, take it over to the pharmacy system and return it to stock. And when you do that, it'll come out of, and you'll delete it from here. And that is, that's a very simple but cost-effective WillCall application. It's in beta now. It should be in general release in the next week or so. We're excited. We're hearing good things from our beta sites, and we're excited to get it out there. This does not require version 8.3.2. So any of you that are interested in it, contact us and we'll get you set up, and we look forward to hearing your feedback. So everybody have a terrific day, and thank you for taking the time to be with us today. Cheers.